Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. So today we're gonna kind of look at this idea of conversion,
Okay.
but not like the typical someone knocking on your door kind of conversion.
Right, right.
We're going deeper. We're going with Elder Rubén V. Alliaud and his talk back in 2019, "Found Through the Power of the Book of Mormon."
Oh, interesting.
And get this, he uses this whole theme of being found, almost like you weren't even lost to begin with.
Mm.
What do you make of that?
That's fascinating, isn't it? It's a different way to think about it, right? And he connects it to those parables in Luke. The lost sheep, the lost coin, the prodigal son.
Yeah.
It's not just about finding faith, but about being sought after.
Okay, so let's break down those parables a little bit. I mean, they're pretty familiar stories to a lot of us.
Right.
But what's the deeper meaning here, especially in this context of conversion?
Well, in each parable, there's this intense search, right? You got the shepherd leaving the 99 to find that one lost sheep, the woman desperately searching for her coin, the father running to meet his son.
Yeah.
God isn't waiting around. He's actively seeking us out.
That's powerful. It's like we're being called back to something we didn't even realize we were missing.
Exactly.
And this is where Elder Alliaud's own story comes in.
Yes, exactly. He talks about visiting his uncle in the U.S. when he was just 15. And the deal was his uncle, a member of the church, wouldn't preach to him.
Okay.
But young Reuben, he was surrounded by copies of the Book of Mormon, almost like it was meant to be, don't you think?
Wow. It makes you think about how we often underestimate just simple curiosity, right?
Right.
He could have ignored those books.
Oh, absolutely.
But something drew him in.
And it was that intrigue, along with the promise written right in the Book of Mormon, that really made a difference. That invitation to ask God if these things are not true. It's not about blind faith. It's about seeking your own confirmation.
That asking God part, that's key. It's what moves it past, just being curious to really believing. So, did Elder Alliaud pray right away?
Well, actually, he started reading just out of curiosity. But the more he read, that curiosity turned into a real desire to know if it was true. And that's when he decided to pray.
So what about his uncle? How did he react when he found out? I'm picturing a mix of surprise and relief.
Oh, definitely. He was so surprised he practically shoved young Reuben onto a plane back home. Even sent a note to his mother saying, "I had nothing to do with this."
That's hilarious. Can you imagine being his mom? Your son comes back from a trip with a note like that.
It's such a great story. And her response is even more interesting. She didn't, push back or question him. Instead, she gave him this really practical baptismal interview. It shows how conversion, it affects everyone around us. It makes them think about their own beliefs.
She wanted to make sure he was serious. This wasn't just a teenage phase. But what's amazing is that even years later, she was still calling his uncle, asking when he was going to get over this. That shows how deeply this changed Elder Alliaud.
Absolutely. It was a fundamental shift in his life. And all because of a book.
Which begs the question, what is it about the Book of Mormon that has that power?
Well, Nephi, one of the writers, explains that the book is meant to persuade people to believe in Christ and get closer to God. It's more than just history, it's a testament of his teachings.
So it's more like a guide, a way to understand God, especially for those willing to try the virtue of the word, like Elder Alliaud says.
Exactly. And it's not just about knowledge, but about transformation. Remember what President Nelson said? The truths in the Book of Mormon have the power to heal, comfort, restore, cheer our souls.
That's powerful. There's something in those pages that can touch us deeply, but how does that happen? What's the process?
It's about trying the virtue of the word. You approach the book with curiosity, you engage with the message, and you sincerely desire to connect with God. You're not just reading, but really engaging. Letting those words sink in, pondering their meaning, and seeking personal revelation through prayer.
So it's way more than just like reading it to say you did.
Exactly.
It's letting those words change you and shape how you think.
That's it. And Elder Alliaud's story, it shows this perfectly. He wasn't out searching for truth when he picked up that book. He was just a curious teenager.
Yeah.
But being open to the message, plus praying, well, that sparked a huge change.
It's like he found something he didn't even know he was looking for. Like being found. It's almost as if sometimes truth finds us when we're not even looking.
That's the thing. God is always reaching out, always finding ways to connect with us. It could be through a friend or something big that happens, even just a book that you happen to pick up.
And with Elder Alliaud, it was all of those things. The book was there because of his uncle. His curiosity made him open it. And praying, well, that opened the door for him to really understand.
And it reminds us that conversion, it's not just about joining a church or believing certain things. It's about what changes inside you, turning towards God and wanting to live how he wants us to.
So it's more like aligning your life with like a bigger purpose, trying to live out those teachings.
Exactly. And that takes time. It's a journey.
Not something that happens overnight.
Right. Which takes us back to Elder Alliaud's mom and her wanting to make sure he understood what he was getting into. It wasn't about appearances, but a true change of heart.
Yeah.
Her approach, it shows how important it is to be accountable in conversion. It's not enough to just go through the motions. True conversion means looking inward, seeing what needs work and making sure your actions line up with God's will.
So you're actively part of your own transformation, not just passively following new rules.
Right. It's about owning your spiritual journey and making choices that bring you closer to God.
And that ties in perfectly with what President Nelson said about the Book of Mormon having the power to heal, to comfort, to restore.
Exactly.
When we really let those teachings in, they can help us become our best selves.
That word embrace, it's important. We can't just read the words. We have to let them in, let them challenge us, let them guide us. We have to be open to their power.
Totally. It's about creating space for that change, both inside and out. And what's really amazing is how universal this message is. Elder Alliaud says, everyone can be found by the Book of Mormon, no matter their background or beliefs.
That's right. It's about starting your own journey to discover truth in a way that speaks to you personally. It's about being open to being found, even when you weren't looking for anything.
Like Elder Alliaud, he wasn't searching for anything, but his story is so inspiring. It shows us that conversion can happen in unexpected ways, and the Book of Mormon is there for anyone who's open to it.
It really is.
It's a reminder that spiritual growth isn't always about searching, but about being ready to be found.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that makes me wonder, what does it mean to be open to being found for you? How is God maybe reaching out to you, even if you haven't noticed yet?
Those are great questions. It makes me think about all the unexpected things that have happened in my life, those moments that changed everything that I could never have planned for.
It's incredible, isn't it? We're all on this journey, and we never know what amazing things we'll find when we're open to them.
We're all in our own stories of being found, like those parables. But unlike the parables, we don't know how our stories end yet.
That's true. And just like in those stories, there's so much joy when someone's found. It's about connecting, coming back to something bigger, finding our way back to God.
That feeling of joy, I think we all understand that. It's like when you see a loved one again after a long time, or find something you're passionate about, or when you find that sense of peace you've been searching for.
And with Elder Alliaud, that joy wasn't just for him. It touched his family, everyone around him, because they saw how he changed.
Yeah, it's like a ripple effect.
Yeah. And his mom, her reaction is incredible. Even though she wasn't a member herself, she really supported his faith.
It just goes to show you how conversion can change not just one person, but their whole family. She saw the good it did for her son and was happy for him.
It really is beautiful. And the way she was so practical about it, making sure he was serious, it really emphasizes how important that commitment is. It's not just a feeling. It's about giving your life to God's principles.
So it's a lifelong journey, always trying to live God's will.
Yes, exactly. It's about seeking to be found, to grow, to be closer to God through prayer, scripture study, helping others, and listening to the Spirit.
So it's about being open and letting something bigger guide you.
Exactly. It's about letting yourself be found, letting yourself change, becoming more like Christ.
And that journey, even though it's personal, it happens in a community. We help each other, learn from each other, and celebrate each other's growth. And just like with Elder Alliaud, we never know when we might meet someone searching to be found or who might help us in our own conversion.
It's true. We need to be open to the unexpected. All those different paths that lead to God and how we're all connected in this search.
We're all on this treasure hunt, but the real treasure is finding ourselves and how we fit into something bigger.
Exactly. And Elder Alliaud's experience really shows how that journey can happen.
His story really shows that conversion, it's a journey, a mix of our own effort and God's grace. It shows how powerful faith is and that hope of being found. As we wrap up, what stands out to you most from what Elder Alliaud shared?
I think it's that focus on being open to being found. It's subtle, but it really shows how God is active in our lives.
Yeah.
And sometimes those big changes happen when we aren't even looking.
That really hits home for me, too. It reminds me to stay curious, be ready for anything, and trust that God is always working things out, even when I don't see it.
I agree. So thinking about Elder Alliaud's experience and what he taught, think about this. What does being found mean to you? How might God be reaching out to you even if you haven't noticed?
Those are great questions to think about. Makes me think about all those unexpected things that have happened in my life, things I could never have planned for that changed everything.
It's amazing, isn't it? We never know what incredible things we might find when we're open to them.
Keep searching, keep exploring, and stay open to the possibility of being found.
That's beautiful. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
We'll see you next time.